Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
This is the MFS Wellness Podcast, and I am Mike Sinopoli. And on this episode, I'm going to fast forward to the future. I'm going to do what I'm telling myself to stop doing, because looking too far into the future, or even into the future at all, too excessively can lead to raging anxiety, worry, and a bunch of panic. So we're going to go ahead and break that rule for a moment here. Normally, you want to stay where your feet are at, live in the moment, be present, and all that other cliched stuff. It's cliche, like I said, but it is very, very, very accurate. So in this episode, I'm going to go off the rails just a little bit on that and look to the future. While we have to always plan, we just don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know where we're going to be. But we do know one thing. One thing we don't want in the future is deep regret. Any sort of true just regret. I can't imagine how it would feel to be at the end of life and have deep regret knowing you can't do anything about it at this point. Okay, so I kind of gathered a couple articles, 3 of them to be exact, and many of them are from the dying, the elderly, and the retired. So people at the end of life, people terminally ill. I took these articles and just kind of, they're bullet pointed, and going to kind of go through them. Some are pretty obvious, some not so obvious, but a good reminder, I'd say, just to see where you're at and your pace in life, see if you're headed for any of this potential regret. Stop, take a moment during this episode and think to yourself, hey, am I on pace to be lining myself up for some deep regret when I'm 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, however long I'm going to live? You don't know. I don't know. You can do your best to assess that. And you never know. You never know, really. And you also can't use this. Don't take this episode as an anxious, anxiety-inducing sort of thing here, because it's not my intention here. It's just to kind of self-analyze. You never know where it's going to lead. So don't take this too much to heart, but kind of be aware. Because I'll tell you this: no matter what I do, no matter what I am, especially as a father, for my kids, there's never going to be enough I can do for them. There's never going to be enough time with them. If I live to 100, I'm going to, and they're still here, I'm going to regret something that I didn't do on a certain day. And it's a lot easier once it's spoken for and done to have the regret when you look back. It's hard to do it in the present moment. So that's what we're going to try to get to here. And I hope that I hope my children outlive me, and that's just what I want in my life. That is my main objective. I really do. But going forward, just don't take this so much as hey, oh shit, what's going on in my life? Just maybe just see, hey, am I headed to any regret? Is there anything I want to fix right now, repair right now? Maybe these articles can help you out. So this first one that I'm going to read, getting right to it, there's 9 of them. And this is the 9 most common regrets people have at the end of life. And this is written by Grace Bluerock, is a licensed clinical social worker who had worked in a hospice care. This is from mbgmindfulness.com. The 6 years, she writes, the 6 years I spent working in hospice care were some of the most profound and meaningful of my life. I sat at the bedsides of dying men and women as they tried to make peace with their time spent on this earth. Although each person's life story was unique, certain disappointments were expressed time and time again. These 9 regrets expressed by hospice patients can teach us how to start living a better life today. So, going right into it. Number 1, they wish they had been more loving to the people who matter most. Many people express sorrow for not having been more understanding, caring, and present for the people who were important to them. They wish they had the courage to say, I love you more often. So as she writes, take a few moments to write a letter or make a phone call to someone you love and let them know how much you care. It will mean the world to them, and it'll make you feel pretty great too. So that's a good one right there, and a pretty obvious one, I'd say, that we wish we spent more time showing our affection towards those that matter to us while we're all wrapped up in making money, looking good, being seen, followers on Instagram, and all that other garbage that nobody's going to give a fuck about when we're dead. This is a pretty one. This one is a great number one, I think, here that she writes. So what to do for that? Just be more present. I'm not preaching. I'm taking this in with you. Be more present with your kids, with your significant other, with your parents. There's limited time for certain people on this earth. You don't know when it's going to go and when it's going to be there. When they're gone, they're gone. So do the most you can. That's all I can say. All right. Number 2, they wish they had been a better spouse, parent, or child. The people I worked with, she writes, with often regretting taking their families for granted. After all, once they got terminally ill, it was their families who stuck by them and hold their hand and provided love and companionship and cared for them around the clock. So, if maybe you have a damaged relationship with certain family members, your spouse, your parent, your kids, whatever it is, I don't know. Do you, like she says in the beginning of this, everything's different paths to the end of life. You have yours. There's different traumas and damages that were done that are maybe not repairable in your life. There's no forgiveness able because it was too deep. I don't know. Those are some exceptions. But if there's anything there, I would go for that. I would go towards that and rectify it and do better and be more present. Give them some more attention. You're whoever it is that's important to you. Show them you love them. Show them these ways. Show them you're grateful for their lives. Just do what you can for that. Trust me, I can say that I finally have crossed that over. I was living in a bubble for a long time, and myself, and I've realized I've exited out of this bubble of shit, of crap. I have to keep a foot in there just because that's the way life works. But I have another foot out of it so that I can see and observe a little bit better of what's going on. So do that. Don't get so ingrained in it, and and keep your head in a place where you're not neglecting those who will matter, and you're not lying on a deathbed one day wishing that you could have done this or could have done that, because there's no time to rectify it after that. Number 3, they wish they had not spent so much time working. Oh boy, here's one that I will touch on lightly. I'll read what she says here. Many had worked long, hard hours as they regretted missing the most important moments in their kids' lives. I remember one such person, a salesman whose boss expected him to travel 3 weeks each month when he had a young daughter at home. Although he was an excellent provider for her, he never got to know her well. As she became older, he tried to form a relationship with her, but it was too late to make up for the lost time. He never fully forgave himself for choosing time at work over time with her. So I get that. And I have a similar story. I actually think I made a very good decision one day. I was in sales. I was working a job that had me traveling 2 to 3 times per month on a plane around the country. And I was not happy doing it. First of all, I was, not into it. I had found out during that I was going to be a father the following year while I was doing it. And that made me think a lot. And it was a guy, I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but I'll just breeze over it real quick. And I'll never forget him at the Atlanta airport, flight delay, at the bar, having a beer. Talked to him. He recognized me from the flight in and told me he was at least double my age at the time. I was 29. He was probably somewhere in his 50s. And he told me how this job has ruined him, his family, and his relationship with his children. And just make sure that I know what I'm doing with it. Blah, blah, blah. It may have been just banter or drunk talk at a bar, but hey, it stuck with me. I left that job a month later and did something closer to home. And you know what? I was able to be with my kids while they grew up, and I'm very present. And then they're 10 and 7 now, almost 10 and 7. So, she writes, remember that you have choices when it comes to your job. Choose a company that values a healthy work-life balance. It's okay to respectfully decline additional assignments that would require you to work beyond your assigned hours. Your job is important, but there are other things in life that are just important. Not everyone shares this fucking view. Okay, the boomers out there think that you got to do whatever the fuck they got to do. They got to work 80, 90, 100 hours a week. I've seen people on social media, someone says it's a 40-hour work week, 40 hours, and they say, I remember my first part-time job. Okay, martyr. So if you brag about how many hours you fucking work, you're a fucking martyr. Okay, nobody's impressed. So if someone can work 30 to 40 hours a week and make double your salary, and you're going to sit out there and publicly virtue signal yourself as for working 90 fucking hours a week, and you're going to say that like we're putting somebody else down? No, you look stupid. Like, you can't go ahead and manage your time and your life right. That you got to work all those hours, that you haven't made right choices, and hey, you're not financially literate enough to go ahead and figure out a way to balance your fucking life so you can earn income and have a life with your children, with your family, with your spouse, with the people that fucking matter. Quality of fucking life. But bitch about it on the internet all you want. As you can see, that is something that is close to my heart, the way our culture is here. And I don't like the way that it's accepted. I believe in working. I believe in being productive. I believe in new ideas, innovation, creation, and change. I believe in all of it. I love it. I believe that you should be able to work as hard as you'd like and earn what you want and keep what you want. But don't fuck around and tell people for the same fucking pay for some dumb salary that they got to sit there and they got a salary for 40, then you expect them to work 60 hours after 40 and not give them a dime. Compensate. That's all I can say. If you're not going to be there, get compensated, but you might run into some regret. All right, that's enough of me for that one. Okay, number 4, they wish they had taken more risks. Many felt that a fear of failure caused them to play it too safe. They knew that they could have a richer, more fulfilling lives and taken some risks and disturbed the status quo. Consider making a list of everything you have ever wanted to experience in life. Then start crossing them off one by one and watch your happiness and your comfort zone expand dramatically. So I like that because we are very apprehensive here because of many reasons. Obviously, I think it's watching too much fucking news, and I think it's, in the way the money is now in this country, in the United States. If you're here, I don't know how it is in other countries, but we're, experiencing some heavy inflation here. Salaries have been stagnant relatively for the last 30-something years, and the cost of living has skyrocketed. So we are so paranoid and worried, and it's okay to be that way. It's okay to feel that way. It's normal. It's natural. It's kind of the system that we're in, and we're stuck in it. But hey, at the end of life, there's nothing else after that you can do to go do these things that we know of. Okay. I'm not saying there's no afterlife. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that for what we know, what is here on this earth is when we're here that's when we can experience it. We don't know if there's another time or place that we'll be back, that we can do it in some other fashion, that we're going to go to some other place afterwards to get it done. So take the risks. Don't be too scared to do shit. You'll be happy you did it. Some people, they are so afraid to go and do something. And then when they do it, they are so relieved and happy that they did it, that they just won't shut up about it. And that's the best thing to see. I love it. So take some more risks. Don't be afraid to take the trip. Don't be afraid to do whatever it is you think you want to do. Start a business. Do your thing. I started up my nutrition stuff out of a whim here, and it's something that I just kind of always do now. I have another job, but I just do it, and I'm grateful that I did it. I took the risk. I pissed on the imposter syndrome. I went ahead and did it. Same thing with this podcast. I'm not a professional. I'm just here on a microphone. Done. All right, let me get through these a little faster here for y'all, so I'm not rambling too much. Number 5, they wish they had been happier and enjoyed life more. I mean, that's a vague one. I'm not really go into that. But it kind of goes along with the other one because she says most people regretted the time they wasted worrying about things beyond their control. They didn't realize they were capable of choosing fun and happiness until it was too late. So spend a few minutes every day doing something you love and brings you joy. I love that. That's very clear cut. Just, you got to work, but you know what? Find the shit that brings you happiness in between there. Figure that out. I think that's a great way to go. That's going to be different for everybody, so I'm not going to go ahead and list anything. Number 6, they wish they had lived their dream. Many people's lifelong dreams went unfulfilled because they were too concerned with trying to live up to somebody else's expectations. That's a big one. Just kind of going through life. This is what you're expected to do. People will take control of you, and you will live in the perception and under the authority of other people, whether it's a boss, a company, a spouse, a friend, a parent, somebody like that can control you if you kind of just keep going with what you're expected. People pleasing, they call it. And you're just going through life not liking what you're doing because this is what society does. And it goes as far as like just what's cookie cutter in the system. I think it's such wildly nonsensical bullshit, and I think it kind of leads to the midlife crisis because what happens is, what do you do in your life? You go to school, you graduate, you get a job, you get married, you buy a house, you have a kid, you have another kid, and then it's like, okay, I'm in my late 30s, now what? Right? That's where you go. Now what? That's where they think this comes in. Is like, I thought there was going to be this epiphany, but there's nothing else after that. Then it's just 30 more years. Then it's retirement and death. And you realize that, wow, all those little you're so distracted by that cookie cutter hamster wheel of going through life, of getting married, of having kids and doing those. I get there's a biological clock for women to all that and things like that has to happen at a certain point. But at the same time, you're just going through this life that you're told to do, and you just end up unfulfilled at 40, and you're like, now what? Fuck. So if I can give anything to the youth, any information to the youth, and a lot of people will shit on me for this, is first of all, if you don't know what the fuck you want to do with your life, don't go to fucking college and pay a bunch of money and go into debt, because that is silly shit. And I'm believing that in some fashion, I think these companies are going to stop requiring you to have that bachelor's degree. Just get that piece of paper, they say. Just get that piece of paper. What a fucking scam. What a fucking scam that is. Just get this piece of paper that's going to be irrelevant to the job, but we want to see that you have it. And then you're just going to do what we say. We're going to pay you $40,000 a year to start while you're sitting there in crippling debt from the university or whatever, because you just had to get that piece of paper because we said so. It's a scam, the whole thing. Unless it's a job that really needs it, doctors, lawyers, engineers, things like that, fine. But no, if you're just going to go into some sales gigs, some business roles, some project management shit, you don't need this. You really don't. I'm sorry, it's not needed. Not for the amount of debt you have to go in. Don't get me wrong, educating yourself, learning is great, but for the amount of debt that people have to go into for school is ridiculous. And then you know what? That's going to be a regret later, I bet. I didn't even read the other one I have up here, but when it comes to finances, like what can you imagine like sitting there paying for this degree for your whole life or most of your life, and just all the interest and all that crap, and never using it, but you were told because the system said you need a piece of paper to get a job to play the game in our system, and then we're going to tax the shit out of you every which way. Think about it. Really think about what you're in. It's fucking terrible. Financially, monetarily, it's a big fucking system. We're not as free as we think, believe it or not. I'll get into that another time because I don't feel like pissing about it. All right, number 7. Here's one in my wheelhouse. They wish they had taken better care of themselves. Oh, boy. Yeah. I mean, there's no guarantees, obviously. Most patients thought, she writes, that if they've eaten better, slept more, paid more attention to their health and well-being, they might have not gotten sick. They wish they had made self-care more of a priority. So make time to go for a nature walk, take a nap, meditate every day. And I agree wholeheartedly. And to get in the gym and lift some weights. That's still not made that has still not made the leap into stuff that needs to be done. The walking is great, nature is great, sleep, all wonderful shit to do, but strength train too. Believe me on that. There's a lot more studies going on behind strength training, legitimate muscle building that is going to help your quality of life and the longevity. You are here. Okay? No guarantees, but think about it. Call me if you need me. Number 8, they wish they had done more for others. I heard countless wishes, she says, from people who have dreamed of making a difference through kindness, compassion, and acts of service. Many patients made the decision, often right from their hospice beds, to donate their money to charities, service organizations, and it could positively affect the lives of others. Okay, so that's not a bad one. If you feel like you just didn't do enough for other people, you felt like maybe you're just sitting there in your own thoughts, selfish, okay, do some more for other people. Charity work, very good thing to do. Not a bad idea. Number 9, they wish they had chosen more meaningful work. This is also a great one. I love this. Many expressed that they had never enjoyed their job, but stuck with it year after year to pay bills. They wish instead they had chosen work that was in line with their purpose and passion. Work that they were excited about and gave them a sense of fulfillment. So take some time to get crystal clear on what you're passionate about. Then you can begin looking for what speaks to you. So do this even, this doesn't mean just quit your fucking job and go ahead and, just do something. Just keep your job and do it on the side. Just do something on the side. I do this nutrition thing on the side, essentially. I enjoy it. Eventually, I would like to transition this back to full time, and that's my plan. I have to expand on a few things myself, but that's just me talking me. But for you out there listening, that yours is your own. Think about what it is. If you don't have to keep doing it because you've been doing it and you thought it was your dream and maybe it's not. You have to come to the terms that I fucking thought this was what I wanted and it's not. Now I got to switch it up and then think of what you really want. And this is another part where it's going to fucking school is a scam, because you're asking an 18-year-old kid what they want to do with the rest of their lives and commit up to 6 figures of debt to do it. Think about that. So then I think people are sitting in miserable jobs, in miserable careers, in an industry which they thought they wanted to be, but they went to school, they got through it. What a depressing, what a sad day When you go to school, get a degree in something you think you love, you get into it, you realize you don't love it, and now you're stuck and you're just like, holy shit, the $75,000 of debt, this terrible depression I have from this job in this industry is all just piling on me in my late 30s or in my late 20s, whenever it hits, and you're just like, this is not what I thought. Keep an open mind, get some certificates, go do some trade stuff, get handy, understand financial literacy, read some books on money. Trust me, you can get a better education outside of school, reading practical things and doing things than you can just by following in the system, in the path. It's true. I'm sorry. The academics are great, but it's literally just one facet of our existence, of who we are. Okay, there's emotional maturity, there's financial literacy, like we were talking about. There's so much. There's just health, wellness. There's mindset shit. There's all kinds of crap that goes into it. But we just sit there and judge people on IQs and academics and SAT scores and all this stuff. Do you know how many people are out there that have great SAT scores? They do wonderful, straight A's, GPAs out through the roof. They do all this stuff, and then they just can't talk to a human being correctly, and they just can't function normally in society. So there's other ways about it. So, I had another one up here, and it really does. They just echo what we just heard here. This is from the Institute on Aging. I'm just going to read those 5 regrets. I believe there was a book written for this one. It's the top 5 regrets of the dying. And I think it was Bonnie Ware who did this one. So these 5 regrets, I'm only going to read the headlines really quick and move on. One is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not for others expected of me. I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I didn't work so hard, maybe work smarter. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Yeah, we're too afraid of what people are going to say about us. We never said it. We just never got it out. And who knows? Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 words, 1 or 2 sentences can change your entire life. If the right person, you talk to the right person, you say the right things. It's amazing how little things can just blow up and help you in your favor. And it can destroy you too. So be careful. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. We know that one as well. People lose touch, and it is what it is. 5, I wish that I had let myself be happier. That's just really it. Those echo the other ones before. Moving on to the last one here. 10 retirees share their biggest regrets. This is by Rachel Hartman. And this comes from Money, U.S. News Money. And what we got here, some of the biggest retirement regrets. A vague financial plan. So there you go. You want to retire, but you have it's like a pipe dream, right? If you want to retire, but you have no financial plan on how you're going to retire, you have to have that in place, or else retirement, I don't think people are going to be able to live based on, especially what we're seeing here with this inflation and cost of living and interest rates and everything. I don't think too many people are going to be able to live very well in retirement on just a evaporating Social Security minimal. It's you got to have something in place: IRAs, 401ks, other stocks and options and things like that. Maybe properties, whatever you can get to. I'm not a financial expert. I know a few things, but not necessarily my go-to wheelhouse. No retirement goals is another one. Like, what's your goals? It kind of goes along with your plan. How do you want to live in retirement? Do you want to travel 3 months of the year? Do you want to downsize your house? Do you want to live in a warm climate? Have a goal. Counting on long-term employment. I'm not even sure what that means. Well, counting on having a job as they age. It sounds like that's what they're looking at there. But unfortunately, some people see the elderly and don't want to give them a job, and they just don't want to get hired. They call it ageism. And unfortunately, there is some truth to it, because we decline as we age, physically, mentally, and in every which way. And you can't be relied upon by the company. You're not going to get hired. You're not going to make money. So you got to have something so that you can tell these people, oh, fuck it, I don't need it. It's called fuck you money too, in a sense. Losing touch with adult children was another one. So I guess parents, they're retired. They've lost touch with their kids. They work too hard. Their kids are now working too hard, and they are regretting that. So that kind of goes back. That one has hit, I think, all 3 of the lists I have, is losing touch and losing connection with family or children. So remember that if you have a bad relationship with your kids or your parents or something, it might be something to go ahead and think about rectifying, because you might regret it deeply later in life. especially if you're, maybe not seeing eye to eye with your parents right now when you have kids, and now you're also putting a strain on a grandparent grandchild relationship as well. Experiencing drawbacks from early retirement. So maybe retiring and getting penalized on your IRA because you took it out too soon. That could be another one. Not focusing on what really matters. Very vague, but find what really, I guess it has to be vague, because what really matters to one may not really matter to another. Failing to embrace a slower pace. Boy, I like that one a lot. That hasn't really been stated here throughout, although you can probably piece it to others. But we live in a unbelievably, I can't stand fast-paced environment. And that's on like every job description, fast-paced environment. Okay, we get it. You want us to be stressed out and rushing all over the place. Like, honestly, you could probably just look like busy in an office if you just just pace around fast, shaking your head, going, blah, 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 muttering to yourself, blah, 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 just doing that shit, looking pissed off because you're just moving all over. You're stressed. They're going to think you're busy. So that's another way. I used to do that. Then that's fine. So but for real, we have to have a slower pace. I see it everywhere. Everyone needs everything right now. Amazon now is shipping things within hours to people's houses. We're conditioning ourselves to have zero patience for anything. We can watch a movie at the click of a button. When we're driving out in the cars, I don't know how many people have no patience to even. They're just flying around, just pissed off, middle fingers everywhere. I'm surprised we don't have a road rage epidemic right now because of the way people are out there. And I drive a lot for my job, so I see it all the time. People trying to get everywhere. They're pissed off. They're underpaid. They're behind on their bills. It's just what we've created here is a disaster in a sense. Yet we're the best country in the world, right? Okay, not starting a second act career sooner. That could be like, your side gig. That's what they're always saying. Your side gig is supposed to be your passion. It was what you like to do. Writing, I should say, training, coaching, art, whatever it is you're good at, do that. Do it while you're doing your job. If you hate your job and you're doing that on the side, boy, it's going to give you that little light at the end of the tunnel potentially. And maybe you see some happiness there. Lack of purpose and not factoring in inflation. Whoa, that one really hit home right there. That was the last bullet point, not factoring in inflation. So $2 million today might be great, but is $2 million in 25 years going to be that great? If you put the amount you're going to get, if you set your retirement plan, this is how many dollars you're going to have. This is where you're going to be able to invest it in. And here's where we think inflation is going to go. You can't predict it, but man, and what happened recently here with inflation is like no other of what we've seen. When I'm going to the grocery store and a bag of grapes is $8.95, I'm like, something's not right here. So, that's what that is. But anyways, that rounds it out. So those are the lists that I came up with just to kind of see and have something to go off of while I spouted this out here. So that's I don't know what you could take from this here. What do I take from it? It's hard. It's hard to sit there and tell you, yeah, just do this, do that. It's like all there, but we live in such a systematic society, and monetarily everything is so expensive that I don't think one job is enough for most households in a lot of senses. So you got that. And, what happens now, we went through this before with, divorces and people not getting along. And I've never seen it in my ways like this since COVID, especially people not getting along and spouses. And I'm thinking, now we're going to have people who have to stay together in a residence due to financial reasons because of high interest rates, inflation, and everything like that. Now talk about a miserable situation there. Okay. So another reason too, I would put this out there, and if this wasn't said in there, this is mine that I'm going to add. You have to become self-sufficient in every which way. That could be a deep regret. If you were relying on too many people, maybe a spouse, a parent, a friend, something like that. Relying on too many other people to be successful and not to be yourself, that could be a huge regret, because if you can't do it on your own, what good is it if you're so reliant on somebody else that if they disappear, that you're fucked? So I would definitely think about that one. So if you're too reliant on a person, even if things are good and you love them and you're just fine, I would honestly just assess it and say, hey, I don't know. what if something happens? What if this person dies? What if this person leaves me? What if this person no longer wants to work together with me? Maybe it's a business partner too. You got to have stability in that sense and figure out a way out for yourself, because no one else is going to look out for you. Nobody. That's the way it is. So that's another thing to look at, I think, towards this without having any regrets. So that's a lot. Again, if you want to message me, talk about this some more. I love this type of topic. I love deep conversations. If you are out there, you want to come on the podcast, you want to have a chat with somebody. If you feel like you just want to talk about something, I'm here. I love just having a conversation about stuff. And I might not know everything, but I'm good at listening, and I can definitely have some input, and I can learn from you. You can learn from me, and then just be out there and talk. We can do it right on the air here, or we can do it in private, whatever it is, however you want to go. So at MFS Wellness, that's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. And then Mike at mfswellness.com would be my email address. So those are the biggest regrets of the dying, of the retired, and of the elderly. That's a big amount of them. If you have others, let me know. So that's it for today. I'm going to keep this thing going, this podcast. It's been tough to get regular with this. I love doing it. I love the core listeners I have. I appreciate all of you. Looking to have some more guests on. I have a few lined up, just trying to find the time and make the time to get them on. So until we get that all lined up, we will see you all in the next episode. Thank you.